Hi, I'm so happy to be here with you today. You know, I'm coming to you from Sydney, Australia, and I want to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land, the Camaragal people, and pay my respects to their elders, past, present, and future. So here we are. I want to have some fun in this presentation and take you some of the things that I've been learning about the digital economy on my own journey. And so, in Sydney, we've just come through a long and extended lockdown. And, the world has changed so much with this COVID pandemic. We've seen how important our digital economy is and how many organizations have accelerated their digital transformation. We've seen the shift to remote and hybrid working. And, really, it's been a time of reflection, on what work means, the skills that we have to offer, and which skills we need to build. Thinking about how we rebalance our skills and the mix of skill sets that we have. And I guess that's what it's all about, really, isn't it? To be able to really see one another and to be seen for the skills that we bring. And that's what links us all together. So on my own personal journey, I've been with LinkedIn's Economic Graph team for the last 7 months, and I'm continually wowed by the insights that are possible from a data set that is so large and so rich. We have over 720 million members, and on our platform, over 55 million companies. And today, I want to take you on a quick tour of some of these insights and what they might mean for public policy and business leaders. So first up, we take a look at the global talent migration when it comes to AI skills. And there's been a huge growing demand for AI skills across the globe. And you can see from this chart that, there are some countries like Australia and Canada, for example, that are net importers of AI talent, and countries like Brazil or India that are net exporters of AI talent. And so the question for policymakers and business leaders is, when we are faced with a changing landscape like a pandemic and there are border closures, what does this mean for talent flows when the landscape becomes more constrained or restricted? How do we rethink those skills and where we can sort of obtain those skills? So we've sort of looked at AI skills, quickly across different countries, but there's a different kind of cut we could look at, and that is, what is the AI skill penetration across different sectors and different industries? And without wanting to get into too much detail, there's a metric from Stanford University's AI Index report that shows an indication of the AI skill penetration across different sectors. So this chart kind of shows you, in countries like India, United States, and China, there is a greater depth of AI skills across a various number of sectors. Whereas in my own country, like Australia, there's a lot more scope for us to build AI into our other sectors and increase productivity. So that kind of gives us hope that we can really make progress in a range of different sectors. So moving on from AI, and now to a question that we get most commonly asked, which is what are the top most in-demand jobs? And here is where that signal, that really strong signal that we are really headed into a digital economy comes through really strongly. So you can see, I've sort of colored some of these jobs, the top of the charts, top 5 across Australia, Canada, India, UK, and US. And the colored job roles indicate, that it's part of that digital economy piece. And, for my software engineers out there, you guys are in high demand at the moment, definitely in the top 5 across all countries. So this gives you another indication that we are, really racing towards this digital transformation globally. And now I want to quickly touch on something that's, very near and dear to my own heart, and that is this piece around equity. So, even though we know we are sort of, really accelerating to a digital transformation, what's so important is looking at who gets left behind in this growth. And how, how are women, Indigenous people, and other underrepresented people in our community, tracking when it comes to this digital transformation. And so it's just as important to look at who gets left behind in this race to digital. And so, as a special preview, I want to give you a quick look of how gender equity in particular is placed in our digital economy. So here's a chart from the World Economic Forum's Global Gender Gap Report on some of the emerging jobs. And as you can see, again, the digital economy features strongly. The last for data and AI, but in particular, feature strongly in those emerging roles. But what's interesting and also concerning is that in these, digital roles, women are vastly underrepresented. And this has been going on for the last, 3 years. So in fact, during that time, we haven't actually seen an increase of women. We've seen a very modest increase in some areas, but even in particular with data and AI, we've actually seen a decrease. And so that kind of gives us pause to think, right? Because do we just get more women in the pipeline in those particular streams? Or do we shift our thinking in terms of, understanding what are the skills that we bring and how those skills can be mapped into these roles? And that's, that's the challenge that we have as a global community in filling these gaps. And so I want to put to you that, there's a lot of ways we can sort of think about this problem, and maybe just having more talent in the pipeline may not be the most optimal solution. And so at LinkedIn, there's been a lot of work in the space, and we've developed a Career Explorer tool. So, do check it out. It's freely available. And what it does is it allows you to see the skills profiles of certain roles. So I was kind of curious. I went to the site, I looked at a policy advisor, and I wanted to see, if I wanted a civil servant position in Ottawa, what are the skills I'd need to get there, and what are the stepping stones I'd need to build. And so you can see the skill set. There's an 85% match, and these were the skills that I would need to develop in order to transition to that role. And so having a pathway with a certain number of skills that we can then use to transition into these roles is so important, because it gives us clarity and visibility on what those next steps are. And from a gender equity perspective, for example, if you think about women being more represented in some roles like human-computer interaction or nanotechnologies, how do we transition women in those particular roles into data and AI? And how do we rethink that? So the next time you think about the digital economy, I want you to reflect on the skills profiles that you might need on your journey onwards. And if you're a policymaker or a business leader, here is a really creative way to think outside the box and start thinking about the skills and the skills profiles that your teams bring together. So thank you all. Special shout out to my LinkedIn Economic Graph team for some of the incredible work that is happening behind the scenes. Thanks, Alistair.